Hey everyone, welcome to the Bullish Entrepreneur and thank you for tuning in.
And to all our listeners via our podcast, be sure to check out the Bullish Entrepreneur YouTube channel for all our latest content.
Don't forget, what is a bullish entrepreneur? Well, for starters, let's break down the name and meaning behind it.
Sure.
The term bullish derives from Wall Street. It symbolizes growth, perseverance, grit, and an unwavering willingness to succeed. Wouldn't you agree, Abdul?
Sure, Bernard. We typically think of the term entrepreneur in a traditional sense as, a business owner, right?
Traditionally.
Well, think about factors like the invention of the World Wide Web by Tim Berners-Lee in the 90s. Fast forward to the 07-08 recession. Like everything else, the word has evolved, becoming something that stands for more than just your typical brick and mortar business owner, right?
Essentially, what my good man Abdul is trying to say here is we live in an ever-changing world.
Exactly.
One that is fueled by technology. And since the economic crisis of 07-08, we've seen a major shift in the workforce.
Definitely.
Forcing people to find new ways of making income, whether that's building businesses online, becoming entrepreneurs like ourselves, or finding a side hustle that simply helps them break out of the chains of a paycheck to paycheck lifestyle, in opposed to the traditional brick and mortar like you mentioned. And what we mean by that, a brick and mortar is simply a location where you have to conduct your business out of, where you pay water bill, electricity, and rent, which takes away from the whole platform which we have today in the internet, where we can bring in 100% profit without any overhead.
You hit the nail on the head with that one, Bernard. Exactly what I'm talking about. Out with the old industrial way of thinking and in with the digital revolution, right?
Yeah.
Now the term entrepreneur defines someone as, a problem solver or someone who is very innovative. And more importantly, someone who is aware of societal transitions.
Also someone who is proactive versus reactive, adaptive rather than complacent. Someone who's a doer.
Hell yeah.
And won't stop until they've done that which hasn't been accomplished before. Or do it better than what has been done before.
Of course.
And that's what being a bullish entrepreneur is all about. We're here to provide you with the information that's already available at your fingertips and in your environment. We'll show you how to incorporate what you've learned here into your 9-to-5 schedule and daily lifestyles. And if you're already an entrepreneur like us, we'll show you how to build that mindset, which enables you to become the bullish entrepreneur you were meant to be.
Bondar, that's exactly what we're talking about, right? In order to have that bullish lifestyle, you first have to have the bullish mindset. And cultivating that mindset is our top priority. The implementation will come naturally. And this will be just as beneficial for you guys as it will for us because we're looking to embark on this journey with you, expressing all our trials and tribulations along the way.
So we hope you're ready because we have a lot of great information in store for you. We look forward to helping you along your entrepreneurial journey.
So be sure to grab life by the horns
and live life bullish.
Take care, you guys.
Welcome everyone to the Bullish Entrepreneur Episode 1 Q&A portion of this video. We actually had a giveaway through our Instagram story asking a few questions from the audience that would actually be part of our videos and future episodes to come. These are the shirts that we have that we're giving out. For those of you who participated and won, check your mail. You should be getting them within the next week or so. We want to encourage our future audiences to also participate. Follow us on Twitter, Live Life Bullish, or on Instagram at Bullish Entrepreneur. Be sure to participate in our future giveaways. That way you may have a chance to win any of our merchandise. We're going to dive right into the Instagram questions to see what the audience really wants to know.
Yeah.
Right? Essentially get into your minds and be able to answer these questions directly and you feel it's more of a personable experience. As we will in the future, give a voice to all of our audience to say something, whether it's something you like, something you would like to know, any other information that anything stumbles you.
Anything they feel like, you guys feel like we can improve on, the interaction, the engagement is what we harp on. It helps us provide a better message for you guys. So definitely keep those questions coming, right?
Yeah, so the first question is, what is your main objective with this podcast? Abdul, you want to take this one away?
Sure. So when you first, brought the idea of the Bullish Entrepreneur to me, I was thinking, oh man, wow, where is exactly this gonna go? I didn't know necessarily, where your mind was on that. But for me, I thought that, the objective of the podcast when it was first brought up, I thought was just to be, a way to educate the masses of people who are looking, to become entrepreneurs. Anybody who has had the thought but didn't necessarily know how to go about it. To be honest, I was one of those people who were just basically like, all right, I know I don't want to work a 9-to-5 for somebody else, but in the same sense, if I were to go out on my own, where would I go? What would I do?
How do you start?
Exactly. How do I start? Like, I feel like a lot of people are stuck at the crossroads and stuff like that. So for this platform to, be thought of and made for the people, it for me provides a guideline. It's like, a GPS, so to speak, for people who need a foundation to start with. And for people who need to feel comfortable with the decision of becoming an entrepreneur. This is definitely the idea I had in mind when it came to the Bullish Entrepreneur, and I really feel like it's going to be very beneficial for people in the long run.
I agree, man. And honestly, it's something that, us as humans, we're very doubtful.
Yeah.
Right? We're very doubtful about ourselves. It's easy to point out flaws and things in other people.
Yeah.
But it's hardest to have that self-awareness and be able to point it out on ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of our biggest obstacles, right? And what we're driving here is not just showing people how to use the tools that's around them, but how to show them that, it's okay to be vulnerable and get into your own mind.
Most definitely.
Meditate.
Yeah.
Meditating is something that I always associated with, something religious, of a religious experience, and something I always ran away from. When I realized it's just something as simple as staying in a quiet space to be able to think alone in my thoughts and understand what my next move was, what my past was, accepting the past to be able to move into the future.
Yeah.
So I believe self-awareness is something that we're really trying to make people aware.
Yeah.
That way they can kind of beat their own demons and become something greater.
Yeah, definitely. It's always hard to, find the key to Pandora's box, right? Because we tend to, lock a lot of the emotions we don't want to necessarily pay attention
and
to.
Just throw it away.
And just throw it away, man, and just be done with it. But nah, being vulnerable, understanding your conscience and what it's telling you, going with your gut feeling at times, those are the things that the Bullish Entrepreneur is, basically making the cornerstone of its mission.
That's what really we're trying to drive, right? We want to help people become independent. And having a job is not something that, a lot of people are really caught up in this epidemic of quitting your job just because you see other people do it and become entrepreneurs. And we're here to tell you it's not that easy. Abdul quit his job on the day of my graduation from college.
Yeah.
And I quit my job only 2 months later. Right, so it's something that, we started off very exciting because we were able to launch our dreams into a reality and make it profitable in a sense, right? And when you start out of the gate, it's not so easy because now all the pressure is on you.
Oh, yeah.
Right, like I was working my 9 to 5, doing what I had to do at work, having a check come in every week, and then I'll come home and then work on trading.
Yeah.
And I'll be profitable in trading, and it was a great day because now I have more money.
Yeah.
But then I would get stuck when I would go to work and I couldn't really focus on trading because I had to work late nights, and that would hinder my trading. So then losses just kept coming one after the other.
Yeah.
And I couldn't really understand how I went from being so consistent to completely losing it and not understanding, like looking at the charts and being like, what am I looking at? Right, after having all this knowledge and gaining all of this.
Yeah.
And it was a mental roadblock where my mind was just completely removing trading from my perspective.
Yeah.
Right, where it started kind of throwing that fear in, like, hey, you don't need to do this, get your job back.
Yeah.
This isn't for you.
Yeah.
And then you have to kind of kick back into reality and say, hey, I've made a lot of money. And that's another thing that you want to do. You never want to quit your job unless you have something that's stable. In trading, it's something that really, it became very consistent for me. So it's easier to then quit the job. And then once I did, I realized that it's not just based on me knowing how to trade, but my mindset.
Yeah.
The pressures of knowing I didn't have that check coming in every 2 weeks really wrecked me nervously, right? I was worried how I'm going to pay the bills and all these things when I've been doing it already for about a year.
Yeah.
And that really stunned me from the perspective of understanding how the mind works. And, you'll see it in athletes all the time. Shoot 33s during practice, but then during the game winner, they airball it.
Yeah.
Why is that? You're talking about a professional basketball player, let's say, who makes millions of dollars a year just to shoot a basketball and play basketball as well. But, in that moment, you expect them to make that shot and they don't always do. And still they keep chucking on.
Yeah.
Right? So it all comes down to the mindset, the perspective, molding your mindset to be strong in any situation. Right? The more pressure you can handle, the farther you will go. And I'm a firm believer in that.
That was actually a great example because, a lot of time athletes, they have those same exact mental roadblocks that you talk about, right? Oh, I'm not good enough, if I don't keep up this specific workout regimen, or eat this way, or whatever the case may be, I won't be in the top 3%, of players who are, just elite, right? But it's those same doubts, those roadblocks that keeps them, or keeps all of us in a sense, from reaching our greatest potential. Why? Because you let the negativity basically feed in, and it ultimately just succumbs everything that you have in your belief system. It's
kind of like a snowball effect.
Yeah, it's like it's a bit cancerous in a sense, right? And it's like you got this dark cloud over you, and it's like, how do I break out of it? Well, first rectify that dark cloud. Understand where it is, right?
Yes.
You know, figure out.
That's the awareness piece.
Yeah, that's the awareness piece. Figure out where it is, like in what's bothering you. Rectify that, and then you can now start on the building process of trying to figure out how to move forward. Because if you don't, you'll just be sitting there in your own muck, and you won't understand why you can't get out of it. So it's great that, you know, the bullish entrepreneur.
That was a great response.
Yeah, the bullish entrepreneur is like basically that for them. It's that next step. Once you basically identify it, you can then say, all right, boom, I need to do this now, and now that I want to take this step forward, oh wow, the bullish entrepreneur is there as well for me to kind of, you know, piggyback on, in a sense, as far as like helping me
lean on.
Yeah, helping me go forward in my mission. So
yeah,
this is a great opportunity. I feel like a lot of people are going to enjoy this.
I agree, and it's something that I really understood to be that everyone pretty much goes through the same situations. And maybe not in the exact details, of course, because of all of our lives are different. They're distinct.
Yeah.
They're not going to be exactly the same. But we encounter the same issues of the mental roadblocks. We encounter issues of self-awareness, being able to understand ourselves and our behaviors. And that alone hinders our progress because we don't know what to fix to be able to get to the next level. And we have to look within to really get there. That's something, I mean, even in trading, where I knew so much about trading, and I knew how to trade, and I had executed very well while I had my day job.
Yeah.
When I left my day job, it was something that I came out of the gates really doing well.
Yeah.
And then a month later, everything came crashing down for me because now a routine that I had for the past 8 years of having a day job completely shifted.
Yeah.
I now was stuck, like you said, in my own muck. So I was forcing it because since I'm home more, I felt I had to be trading all the time, or at least working and studying on trading. I removed the balance that I had in my life, which was, you know, get out for the day, you know, meditate, think of your thoughts. You know, I got out of the routine of being alone in my thoughts, being able to understand myself, what I'm thinking, how I'm going to react next.
Yeah.
It was all in one place because I wasn't moving until I became consistent again in trading.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's something that was poisonous, right? Where I couldn't figure out why I couldn't break out of this cycle that I had been doing so well in before. And it dawned on me that it was really my own mind and fear holding me back.
Yeah.
And success was only on the opposite side of fear.
Just right there.
Just right there. As soon as you get past that obstacle, it's like Pandora's box is open.
Yeah.
Your mind now shifts completely.
Yeah.
And you have it down pat.
Yeah.
And now it's at a point where, I mean, trading, they say, you know, when it gets boring, that means you've mastered it. But you have to adjust to the market, your emotions. As you get older, you become more fearful. You become more secure. You have more to lose the older you get. So this is something that you consistently have to be working upon, just like in any other skill or business. You adapt to the world and the environment around you.
Yeah.
And those who don't adapt get left behind.
Pretty much. And it's unfortunate, but it's sadly true.
It's sadly true.
If you don't figure out a way to switch up the plan in a sense that, you know, pertains to whatever is going on around you, if you don't do that, essentially, like you said, you just get left behind, and time waits for no man or woman. You know what I'm saying? So
that's true.
It just keeps going. But I think that once you figure out, you know, because for me, for example, like when I made that decision to quit my last job, I was working with NBC for a year as a
NBC News, right?
NBC News, yeah, as a sports associate producer.
Nice.
And then I left from that. It was contracted for a year. After I got done with that, I then moved on to be a media specialist for an upcoming Ninja Lounge gym for kids and adults. And I was doing that, and I went in with the intentions that, hey, you know, it's a nice pickup as far as, you know, coming out of a job, going into a job. I'll have that income coming in again. Yeah. But in the same sense, like once I got done with NBC, like my mind shifted in a way in which I felt like getting another job wasn't the only option.
Okay.
Like I was like, all right, Abdul, you're 26 now, or at the time I was 25, and I was saying, you know, well, do you want to continue to work for somebody else's dream, or do you
until you're 26?
Until you're 26, or for the rest of your life?
Yeah.
Or do you want to, finally, get your feet in the ground, strap up your boots, and really go for what you've been saying that you wanted to do for the longest, which is open and start your own production company? And
which isn't easy to do.
It's
There's
not.
a lot of competition out there, right? Anybody can pick up a camera and think they know photography, think they know about videography, but what does it really entail?
It entails a lot, honestly. It starts from like we've been talking about right now, the mindset, but it also takes equipment. That's the first thing that kind of shunts people away. You can't really do a lot of production without the equipment.
The excuses, right? I can't afford it. How am I going to buy this equipment?
Exactly.
I mean, what was your job situation at the time? Just to kind of give people an understanding that this can really be done by anybody if you put your mind to it.
Yeah, me personally, when I first started out, what I started doing was basically figuring out what I would need that would fit in my budget, essentially, right?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, a lot of the phones that we have today are so advanced. They have all these cameras like that shoot 4K, 5K in some cases. A lot of times you'll be set with
the iPhone XS Max is one of those.
Yeah, iPhone XS Max. You got the Samsung Galaxy S10 now. At the time, I think it was the S9.
They're competing with
the
Nikon
Notes,
and Sony cameras.
All of them. They're super high tech now, to the point where you could literally just use that as your main camera. But me personally, I could do that with my phone, but at the end of the day, I'm doing so much other things on my phone. I just would rather have something designated specifically for my business, right?
And of course, someone would prefer you to have a high quality equipment.
Exactly.
Because at the end of the day, they can get their cousin or anybody else to film. And it's not just about the equipment, but also the vision behind the person who's shooting it.
Yeah, and also, especially in this market, it's the perception. Like you just said, anybody can show up with a phone.
Perception's key.
But if you come through with a camera that looks legit, a lot of times people are gonna be like, oh, okay, this man is serious. And
well, you got a gig at my graduation.
Yeah.
So he actually got a gig at my graduation. He's doing these shoots for my family and I, and did it for free, obviously. We've known each other for a long time, my boy. And we worked together on a lot of projects, actually. And, someone just came and picked them up out of our crowd and was like, hey, I need you to take a picture, follow me around campus with my daughter, take my whole family, and I need you to shoot pictures.
Never met the guy. And after that, other people were also looking at Abdul, but he just kind of kept holding him back, right? Like, no, he's mine now. And then I'm here like, wait, where are you going? But this created something that we realized. Abdul was like, why don't I quit my job? That was the day you quit your job. I think so.
Right after, because he was like, I could go to graduations and take this opportunity to take pictures of families. It's something that's emotional. It's a time that they're not going to get back, right? You only graduate once from bachelor's degree, let's say, getting your bachelor's degree, and from your undergraduate, and then going into your master's. That would be another thing if you ever get there, right? Or if that's your goals to begin with. As we know, in today's age, no job is really guaranteed with any degree. And that's where the freelancing opportunities come in, the entrepreneurship opportunities come in, and really offers a different perspective. And I mean, just with that shoot alone, would have paid you more than your boss would have paid you, I think, what?
Well, I didn't charge much for that, but in the same sense, I would have made a lot. Like that would have made.
Yeah, we'll go back in.
Yeah, I didn't charge much for that shoot, but typically, something like that can make me, I don't know, anywhere from $80 to $100 to $200 within just a few hours, versus me working
an
8-hour shift. And only getting, a certain amount of money, let's say just
$100, let's say.
$100.
It's the average, and people get paid less.
Exactly. So it was just like, that opened my eyes for me, right? I'm like, all right, I can do something I actually love, right? And I'll be working for, money and not so much my time, in a sense, because when I'm working a 9 to 5, I'm working for my time and not necessarily the money, because I'm putting in 8 hours of work and getting only so much money back.
Correct.
But now, as a freelancer, it kind of switched up now. The roles have switched, wherein as I'm just basically working less hours and getting more than what I was getting paid while working that 8-hour shift. And when I saw that and realized that, I was like, oh wow, like now I can have more time to dedicate towards either other shoots, things that I love to do, or just time to basically work on me and building my entrepreneurial mindset to then go out and further these business opportunities. So,
and fear could have easily told you, hey, no, stick with the job. You're gonna get your check every 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, and it's funny you say that, because like that's what's basically been keeping me back this whole time. Like I could have if had I just, you know, gone with my initial thoughts and, you know, my eagerness to go out and just really go and do it.
Yeah.
When I really started noticing the trend of videography and the digital revolution itself, like, I would have been farther. I would have been in positions, you know, where, you know, the business would have had its own platform to sit on. But, you know, coulda, shoulda, woulda, it doesn't matter at this
No
point.
regrets. We keep moving forward.
You learn from it, and
Yes.
that's what I've done. I've learned from my mistake. Now I'm taking the opportunity. I tell myself, hey, I'm young now. I won't be forever. I can at least make mistakes now and be able to learn from them eventually going on down the road.
Yeah.
And I would rather have that instead of sitting back and wondering, dang, like, what if? Like, you know, like, man, like, why did I spend so much time working for somebody else instead of just actually going out for what I believed in and what I love to do? So I told myself, man, at that time, like when I was at the graduation, there's so many different signs. That's another thing. Paying attention to the opportunities that, you know, happen in your life, the occurrences. I'm like, if you don't notice those things, you're kind of behind in the game in a sense, just to be frank, because that's exactly what we're talking about when it comes to self-awareness, right? And understanding your, you know, societal changes and, you know, just being overall aware of what's going on, because things will pass you by and those opportunities could be the life-changing ones.
And that's what people call lucky.
Exactly.
And opposed to just thinking, hey, you put yourself in the right position at the right time.
Exactly.
And maybe you put yourself in the right position at the right time 1,000 times
before
the one moment came, an opportunity came where now you can really, you know, enjoy the fruits of your labor. And I feel like that's something that a lot of people, you know, really strive on, is I have to wait for that one moment to get lucky. No, it's like strive for that lucky moment to happen every time, just simply by putting yourself in the right position. Networking is something we talk about a lot. Networking with people, the right people who have communication skills, who understand the same goals and mindset that you have.
Yeah, man, it's crazy because, you know, like, being lucky is one thing, but if you're constantly out there, you're constantly, in a sense, fishing, you know, for opportunities, and you're throwing your bait out, and you're making sure that, you know, every time you do so, you're on point. Like, you have everything that you need.
Being prepared. That goes back to being an entrepreneur, not a wantrepreneur.
Exactly.
Right? And even if you're still working at a 9-to-5 job, you can still be an entrepreneur in your own right. Doesn't mean just because you have a day job that eliminates you from the category.
Exactly.
The whole point of this podcast is to highlight the opportunities that anyone can take advantage of. And whether you take pride in being called an entrepreneur or not, you know, it's relevant. You really want to harness what an entrepreneur is, not just do it for the title, which we seem to see a lot on social media and a lot of other venues. Right, I hesitated myself even after I quit my job to put entrepreneur up on my page. And then I just kept grinding every single day. I finally got back on my consistency. I started making more money than I had ever. And it wasn't because I was chasing the money. In the past I was trying to make money to pay bills. In this case I was like, let me do the job right. I have the skills, let me hone in, focus, and do the job right, and the money will come if I select the right opportunities. If I go with what I see on the charts, and opposed to going with what I know and assuming, trying to guess, and that's where the gambling comes in, right? Like, no, you want to be sure that you know what you're doing. And I mean, having a day job can be a gamble. Essentially, if they switch around, you know, management and different things like that, anybody can get laid off at any point. And, you know, that's something that not a lot of people see until it happens. And that's why you want to build these side hustles and an entrepreneurial journey aside from your 9-to-5 job, if you have one, because essentially it's always going to help you be self-sufficient. And for you entrepreneurs that are already out there, hats off to you, and thank you for tuning in. We look forward to providing you as much information as possible to be able to help you move forward in your own journeys and be better every day, because that's what it's about. Right? We want to get better today than we were yesterday.
That's the goal ultimately, you know, the repetition aspect of it, you know, just constantly having that thought in mind and making sure that, you know, you're going forward with your best foot every time. You're not stagnant, you're not, you know, complacent. You're always making sure that, you know, every day, every opportunity that you wake up and you breathe, it's a chance for you to become better, and that's all it is, really.
We're going to move forward on to the next question. You know, we answered that one pretty in depth, I believe. And it's a question that really resonates, I feel like, with the public, because it sends our mission and message to what we want to convey. Right? The Bullish Entrepreneur is about helping people progress and be better. There's the Bullish Mindset, which is simply helping elevate your mindset from where it is today to one that is more resilient, right? And more optimistic. That same way the snowball effect can be negative, it can also be a positive snowball effect,
Most
where
definitely.
positive things just keep happening one after the other. And it's simply because you set that snowball into motion.
Exactly. It's not so much, only paying attention to the positive side of things, right? Because then, since, people may think, hey, why are you cutting off the blinds to the negativity or whatever the case may be? It's not
Right.
that. It's
Yeah.
not. It's not cutting off, the negative. That's just not life, right?
Humans are negative by nature.
Exactly. There's good and bad to everything. But what we're simply trying to say is that, would you rather be aware of the negativity but then choose to want to move forward with positivity, or would you rather also, just simply say, hey, these are both sides of the spectrum, but I'm doubtful, so therefore I'm gonna just say, hey, this is not gonna happen,
or that doesn't work, that's
or it doesn't
scam,
work for me, or it's not for me. No, it's not. You shouldn't go with that. If you understand the situation for what it is, and understand that there's two sides to the same coin, but you choose to go with the road that's more positive, that feels more alleviating for you as far as like any sort of doubt or anything like that, there's nothing wrong with that. That's actually perfect, right? It fuels the drive within you to keep going. So that's all what the bullish mindset is about. Essentially, get it in when it gets hard and gets
how you
tough,
react to bad situations.
and how you react to it with a certain calmness that allows you to analyze that bad situation and figure out how you can turn it into a plus.
And that's the thing right there, right? Because let's say a situation happens, right? And it's a bad situation in your perspective.
Yeah.
Someone else may look at that situation and say, hey, well, at least, you're alive, or at least there's always a positive side to the story, right?
Yeah.
At least ...
Yeah.
So that's really what we're trying to drive down, is everyone is going to experience bad situations. Now, how you choose to react to it will determine your outlook, not only in that situation, but in future situations.
Yeah.
You will always look for the optimistic, positive views of it. Because if it's going to happen, it's going to happen regardless. The only difference is how you react. And how you react is your attitude, whether you're positive or negative. If you're a negative person, you're going to react negatively.
Yeah.
If you're a positive person, you're going to look at the bright side of things, understand that maybe it is a bad thing. It's okay to be frustrated, angry. These are regular human emotions.
Yep.
But being able to snap out of it after you've already given that emotion what it needs, then you step back and hit the reset button.
Yeah, reanalyze.
And that's how we move forward.
Yep.
That's what human beings are all about. We move forward no matter what. We triumph over the things that knock us down at one point.
Exactly.
So we're really going into the next question now.
Yeah.
Rant is over, right? So the next one is most reliable way to learn in depth of a particular business to make it as a stream of income. Abdul, you want to take that one away?
Yeah. Well, when it comes to figuring out a profession that you want to make your stream of income legitimately, you want to take that very seriously, right? So in a sense, you don't want to just go in blindly into any type of situation or business scenario and not have done your homework.
Correct.
So me personally, I would say that if you're looking to dive into a certain business profession, survey the land in that realm, whatever realm it would be. For me, it was videography and film production. So what did I do? I basically started figuring out who were the top, dogs in the industry. How can I learn from them, in a sense? Figure out,
studying the greats.
Yeah, pretty much studying the greats, trying to figure out, what were their likes and dislikes. Try to see how I can possibly improve on something that they've done before, and then taking a step back and even downsizing a bit from the greats and going to the people that are in the community who have not yet reached that platform but are on their way to doing so.
And so you have reach.
Yeah. So it's just giving you that range to figure out, all your competition, right? Because like you said earlier, anybody can pick up a camera and say they're a videographer, but it takes that mindset to go out and study, to become a student in your own profession, right? That separates you from the average amateur.
It's always being a student in what you do.
Exactly. Pretty much molding the mind to understand that you have history to back why you do what you do currently.
Correct.
So it's just, basically that in a nutshell. Go out, do your research, try to figure out exactly who are the players, the top dogs that are in the industry doing what they're doing. Figure out how you can, put a spin on a technique they may have done to make it your own. And then also, try to figure out what you would need as well to get your business off the ground based on that profession. find out, what's in your budget. Like I said, for me, it was equipment, so I had to figure out what was in my budget. Figure out your niche to understand exactly what you would need for that. So for me, I thought, let me just,
in terms of the equipment.
In terms of the equipment, let me start with, a camera that I know for sure will be able to, give me the best quality of image for my budget, and also understand that a lot of the stuff that I'm gonna take as far as pictures or video, it's gonna be wide, right? Because I didn't necessarily have a shooting style yet, so I was thinking, let me just do a lot of landscape stuff.
Yes.
So what did I do?
Have your eye pick up on certain cues.
Exactly. So what did I do after that? I just started basically getting, lenses that were relatable to that type of style. So I got a wide lens. I got a camera. At the time, my first camera was a Canon T6i, which was, affordable for me in the budget. It's just a regular, beginner camera. And before I got that camera, I actually checked out, top 10 best cameras for beginners. That way I can grab something and automatically start running gun shooting.
And wasn't too expensive either.
And it wasn't too expensive either. So
probably what would you compare it to? Let's say going out every weekend. How many weekends did you have to give up to pay for that? Just to kind of relate it to the public.
Well, yeah, definitely making that decision, I probably gave up a few months of partying. Honestly, like any event that, eating out. That was one thing.
And that's a big thing, not just partying. Partying could be for, the up and coming entrepreneurs who are younger, early in the 20s. But yeah, I mean, eating out is a big one, right? We have Uber Eats, right, to us.
There's so many options, right?
It's like, do I cook or do I order Uber Eats?
Exactly, right? That you can get, what's the grocery?
Instacart.
Instacart. Oh my God.
If I don't have to walk into a grocery store for 2 hours and I just pay $5 to $10 for a fee, trust me, that has me. I'm done.
It's crazy.
You have me. Take my money.
Now there's home appliances like refrigerators. I know Samsung for sure, they have their own grocery marketplace that is touchscreen within their refrigerator. That's ridiculous. So that's a whole different story.
Yes,
but
that's the technology we'll get into. I mean, Amazon, just to kind of pinpoint it, Amazon buying Whole Foods was one of those things, right? Where you can now buy food from Amazon, and it's because they're trying to compete with apps like Instacart. Yeah. Right. Where Instacart's more like an Uber Eats, but for groceries. So you can see how these different companies are really reacting to the different changes in their environment. They're seeing that I don't have to hire employees. I can just have people do a paid service. Meaning Uber Eats no longer has to pay their employees just for no reason, just hourly. Hey, here you go. But because those people do a job, they're getting paid by the customer. So essentially, the customer is covering the overhead for Uber.
Pretty much.
And Uber's running with zero funds.
Exactly.
So it actually need to run.
But everything still works out.
Everything still works out. And that's where the convenience comes in, the digital convenience, right? Convenience is the new sex.
Definitely.
That is the main thing we're driving, because convenience is what really is moving the world today. Write 10 things down that are convenient to you in your life right now because of technology, and see how you can turn a spin on it, make something, create a different company, or even invest in it. Right now, the stock market, just to give you guys a hint, is at its highest that we've seen ever in history. So it's not somewhere where you want to now buy stocks and get in, because you're not going to have much room to profit.
Exactly.
Essentially, it's paying attention to when the stock market maybe comes down a bit and the prices level out, where you want to go in and be able to build also a stream of income through investments in different companies. Some of your favorite companies, Disney, Apple, these are stocks that are really high right now that you have to pay about $150 to $190 to own.
Just to get in,
so try to find out what are the next stepping stones. Who are the next companies that are going to step in after Disney decides to maybe branch out or buy them out. Amazon has bought out a lot of companies. Imagine being invested in any of those companies, right? Exactly. You now own some piece of Amazon. So these are different things that you can start paying attention to, and obviously we'll dive much deeper into this information as we go into the future episodes. For now, we'll go on to the next question. Right? On to the next question. Abdul, you want to take over?
Yeah, sure. So we have, can trading make you enough money for it to be your only occupation? So, we all know this is like the most typical asked question when it comes to trading.
The juiciest question.
Yeah, everybody's like, what's the mystery behind, making trading your most profitable source of income? So take it away, man. Let the people know.
So obviously I quit my job, right? So something was going right for me.
Okay.
And I would say that every skill I've ever endured in my life, starting off with CarMax, I worked as a car salesman and it was somewhere that I had never really known what to do.
Yeah.
It was mixed in with Chipotle resume that I had sent in, you know, a Taco
Just
Bell
throwing-
resume.
throwing them out there.
I was throwing them all out there at
Yeah.
the age of 18.
Yeah.
I wanted any job. My
Yeah.
dad had a business that he's run for many years, and I was working with him. But working with family isn't always the best thing,
Yeah.
right? So the one thing I quickly realized is that trading offered me this opportunity to really learn something on my own that is self-sustainable, something I can keep making money for the rest of my life. But if it's a skill that can make you money for the rest of your life, as long as you have internet,
Yeah.
there has to be something to it, something
Yeah.
more. It can't be this easy as everybody was explaining it at the time.
Yeah.
And you know, I had a lot of mentors out there trying to sell you a course that was the Holy Grail without showing you that you are the Holy Grail.
Yeah.
You yourself, your mindset, your behaviors, your discipline, the routines, the things we do every day, right? From the books we read, the shows we watch, even on Netflix, I've tailored everything around growth.
Yeah.
Every show that I watch, I make sure I'm getting the most of it. It's a TV show, even if it's on Netflix. Yeah, I'll every now and then, you know, I'll watch the romantic shows with my girlfriend and whatnot, but the majority of the time, I'm trying to watch documentaries and things having to do with business, our financial history in terms of the U.S. and the different things that we've done, also in the world, right? To be able to understand how other people have lived in the same world as us in the past will help us understand our future.
Yeah.
And I really sat down to comprehend that why doesn't everybody just become a trader if they can essentially print money? And what seems to happen is a lot of people want to get rich quick. And this is something that will change your way of trading. And that's where the greed kicks in. You want to make more money. You know, trading really offers a way for you to know yourself. And that self-awareness really becomes apparent. And your skills really tie into that, right? Because you can know exactly what you're doing, but if your mindset isn't in tune with how you're going to execute and your disciplines aren't in line, you're going to become greedy very fast. And the greed kicks in like any other human behavior, where you're holding a trade and you may want to make more money on that trade than, you know, than you should. And what happens is, let's say you have a $200 account and you drop a one lot size. For those who don't know about trading, a one lot size is pretty much risking the entire $100 on one trade, and maybe more if the trade goes against you more than 10 pips on something they call slippage, right? So that's a lot of terminology that you need to learn. For those of you wanting to learn to trade, mind you, this podcast will feature every skill that you can learn in order to help you become profitable and build these side hustles along your entrepreneurial journeys. So, you know, it goes a lot into the greed as well of people. And people think, hey, I'm not greedy. I'm not a greedy person. You know, I give money. And I'm okay with investing and not losing my money. Well, your brain thinks differently than you do, right? So, and mind you, your brain is doing the thinking, not you. You're just a body. You're just a carcass. Your mind is what does the thinking. So you have to mold it to work the way you want it to work for you. Every mind is going to work essentially the same because we have these basic human instincts that shows us, hey, if there's any danger, we should now instill fear to prevent us from doing that. And so to prevent you from making money, you end up pulling a trade earlier because you were nervous and scared. So I would say the one thing in trading that you definitely want to go into is, aside from learning the skill, which you can, go into babypips.com and you can learn all the basics to trading. From all the fundamentals, which is news, understanding how the news moves the markets. Trump has something to do with that heavily into the US market, right?
Definitely.
And so learning how all this works together, how trading works, how to mark up charts in the most simplest way. Mind you, babypips.com is not somewhere where you would just go learn to trade and automatically you're ready to trade. This is something that takes people years to learn, up to 4 years sometimes. I really dove into it head first and grinded every single day. Lost a lot of money, but it sped my learning curve. Right? I was able to learn much faster than most people do. Some people lose a little bit amount of money and they get scared and it hinders their progress. So they slowly start building towards that, which may take a couple of years. I've seen people even take 4 years to learn. I learned it in about a year and a half. And what really helped me was having the funds from my day job and my 401k that I built up over the past 6 years to be able to feed my trading account and essentially give all this money away, but learning lessons along the way as to why I was losing it. And yeah, it took me about a year to lose, let's say, $10,000 being an entrepreneur. But now I can make that within 3 months, essentially, or sometimes even in a month. Every month is different. You adapt to it.
Because you chose to invest in yourself.
Essentially, that's why I invested in myself, and that's another thing that we really want to dive into is investing in yourself. Not only did I invest myself because I had the money to. Some people learn trading and become profitable in a certain amount of time, only having lost maybe $500 because they only put in maybe $10 at a time or $100 at a time. Some of these brokers allow you to do that now, just to kind of get people to keep coming in. So it's understanding how the markets move, understanding yourself. Self-awareness is the biggest thing in trading. It's 95% of your trading. Only the other 5% is the skill, which the skill alone can take you a few months to understand and comprehend what you're doing to begin with. So imagine how long the self-awareness can take.
Right? That's where the years come in.
I looked in myself in the mirror every single day and figured out, wrote down my problems, my issues, the situations I was going through. And every day I would go in, read these things to myself, feel disgusted, and say, hey, I need to work on this. I need to get this through because you know what? I need to make this happen. This is something that I have really given myself into. And instead of saying, hey, you know, I'm going to just lose that money, never try it again. Like a lot of people will tell you, hey, I invested into, you know, trading in stocks and I lost $20,000 and I'll never do it again. And, you know, back in the days, there was something where you had to have $20,000 to $25,000 even to get invested into the market. Now you have a platform where essentially you can start with $100. And some accounts even allow $10, like I mentioned. Just to kind of get people to, you know, feed into the system. So don't also fall for that. Learn the proper skill. There's demo trading as well that you'll learn from babypips.com where you trade with fake money. And they say, you know, the best way is to be consistently profitable in a demo account for 6 months. So there is no excuse not to learn to trade, right? You have babypips.com that's going to give you all this information. You can follow my Instagram at iTradeFXC. We'll also put the link at the bottom of this page. And I'll also be coming out with a website at the end of this year which will detail more information for beginners, and it's all free. I also have a Telegram channel you can join, and I provide free analysis as well as explanations as to what I'm looking at in the market and supporting news to show you why the market moves the way it does.
Yeah, definitely. That the Telegram chat that you have, man, is definitely something I'm in myself. You know, I feel it's helpful, you know, providing that information for people who are looking, you know, to become traders, because a lot of times they'll get scared, that fear, that doubt, that idea of taking whatever money I worked so hard for to throw it into an account to then, you know, go and trade it for whatever reason, you know, and possibly lose it, because it's just as easy to lose it as it is to gain it. In some cases, easier to lose your money than it is to make money.
Because it requires no skill to lose money.
Exactly. So it's just like, oh my God, like, what do I do in essence? But yeah, having something like that, I feel is very beneficial, and it will be for you guys if you choose to join so as well.
I agree, and honestly, it's something that I don't just agree because it's my channel, but the reason I came up with it is because a lot of people are charging for the information they're giving people, right, in terms of trading. They want to teach you how to trade, but they're going to sell you a course that costs you half of your paycheck. It's ridiculous, or half of your rent, right? So I'm giving all this information that people are essentially charging for, I'm giving it for free. And I'm also going to provide all of it on a website where it's a detailed free course. Sort of like babypips.com. You know, in the sense that it would be a little more advanced. So once people find out what they need to find out on babypips.com, I want to build something that everyone else can relate to as the next step. And if you really want to step up your game, I'll have one-on-one sessions where we can meet in person. And of course, those will be charged, but that's the exclusivity of it, right? For the website itself, it's going to be free and give you all the information and teach everyone how to trade. It's not for everybody, and everybody may not like it. That's the whole point of it. I have a lot of friends that joined trading with me and are no longer trading, and only a few that stuck around. It's not everyone's passion. It's kind of like you put me behind a camera. I love taking pictures. I love being a videographer for the moment. But when you're telling me like, hey, you're going to dedicate yourself to not only capturing, recording footage, but getting it in the right angles, the right lighting. You have to make sure you're doing the edits on time. You're going to have deadlines to give to your clients. You know, it's all these things that now tie into it. And I'll tell you, you know what? I'm not that passionate about photography or videography. But it's something you are, right? Some people get scared, like in trading. Hey, I'm never going to trade again. But I'm not going back into it like if you're going to a casino, and that's something we call revenge trading, which I'll get into on the trading channel on my website. So that way, anyone who's interested in learning to trade, you'll know exactly what it entails on the mindset piece and the skill pieces, right? And so, you know, in my perspective, I lost money and I was like, hey, I need to get that back. But I'm going to get it back in the way that I'm not just revenge trading
Yeah.
to make the money back, which you end up doing anyways along the way. It's going to happen. You can't just stop all these behaviors, these bad behaviors in one shot.
Yeah.
You slowly start working them out. And even today, I work on a lot of things. I make mistakes. I write them down. I acknowledge them. It helps me not make the same mistake tomorrow. Doesn't mean I'm just way better than everybody else who's doing it or anybody's better than me. It's just that whoever is better at their craft is simply because they're working harder at it.
Yeah.
Or smarter to really understand what their mistakes were and how they can learn from it to become better and make more money. Sometimes tenfold what you lost, right?
Yeah.
So it's really understanding the piece and having that motivation. If you're somebody who gets knocked down and immediately stands up to stand your ground and you know, want to really build no matter what failures come in front of you, then that really shows you what kind of person you are.
Yeah.
And if you're someone who runs away from these opportunities in fear, you know, I want to be safe, I want to stay in my job, that's fine too. You have to understand that even entrepreneurs and people who have taken that next step once felt exactly how you do. It's just about breaking out of that mold little by little, doing small things, disciplines, behaviors, day in and day out, reading 10 pages a day of a book.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of us stop reading because we read enough on Instagram. We have, and Facebook and Twitter, we have all these social media platforms that are overloading our brains with information that we're so exhausted we don't want to read a 10-page book.
But it's not the act of reading that matters, right? It's the content, right? A lot of that content that you're reading on Instagram is just, you know, fan-filled stuff. Like, if it's about
doing it for the gram.
Yeah, you're doing it for the gram. You know, it could just be simply just, you know, I don't know, checking out what your best friend is doing, or, you know, what's the hottest fashion and stuff like that. Like, not to say those things.
Focusing on other people instead of yourself.
Exactly. Your attention is diverted and it's not in the right place. That's simply what it is. And, you know, basically focusing on yourself and providing yourself with, you know, knowledge that is sustainable, that can help you elevate. That is the key, and it ultimately dictates what type of person you will become in the future.
Definitely. All right, so going on to the last question of the day.
Final one.
Right. Will your podcast be free to the public? Or will it eventually have exclusivity for paying customers?
Okay, well, I'm pretty sure they're thinking, hey, all this information can't be free, right? Well, yes, it's actually true, right? We're here to tell you that all this information here is for free. Why? Because it's information that's already at your fingertips. We talked about, you know, digital convenience being the new sex. All you have to do is just literally pay attention to what's right in front of you. All this technology that we have provides that digital convenience for you to take and choose whichever path you want. Yeah. And all we want to do is just help guide you towards that, build a mindset, and help you understand that if you want to take this entrepreneurial journey, you can do that. And, you know, it's simple.
Regardless of your situation.
Regardless of your situation. It's a simple click on a button, do your research, and figure out how it can be done. And I figure, you know, this platform, the Bullish Entrepreneur, will be that guideline, will be that, you know, index finger for you to say, hey, you know, check out this, you know, figure this might be beneficial for you, you know.
The accountability piece, it essentially helps you pinpoint it. Like, we have a market right now that's saturated with consumers. Everybody is a consumer of whatever product is being thrown in front of them. Yeah. Right? People jokingly make fun of Siri and Alexa, how they listen in on your conversations, and then you see an ad pop up on your phone. Yeah. It's something that's real. Like, that's not just a conspiracy theory. No. there's something behind that. And if you look into it and do your research, you also see that Amazon actually did incorporate a recognition piece into Alexa to understand the different conversations that were being mentioned and certain advertisers, so that way they can put it right in front of your face. Right? So instead of being a consumer, be someone who creates these opportunities for other people to then consume. That's how you become an entrepreneur. So we used an example actually in our Instagram story the other day at Bullish Entrepreneur, where it was based off of a banana, right? Where you go and buy a batch of bananas at the supermarket and you sell them each at $1.50 a piece. Yep. And let's say once you do that, okay, maybe you spent $5 on the entire batch, and then there's 8 bananas, and you're making $1.50 a piece. You're going to return more of a profit than you did invested, right? But then the entrepreneur sees it as something where they get the banana and they make a banana juice. Exactly. And so now this is a juice that is packaged and shows people it's more than just a banana. This is more like a protein shake that has, you know, the potassium you need to keep your day going. And now the juice you can actually sell for more at $2.50. So now you're making almost double the profit off of an item because you chose to think differently and spin it in a different light.
Yep. it's basically repackaging or re-imaging, or just basically just switching up the spectrum a bit, right? Just kind of morphing it a little bit to see how you can make it something more, I guess, usable or user friendly, or you can distribute it better amongst more people versus just taking one banana and giving it to a person,
correct,
by hand or whatever the case may be.
I mean, one banana could probably make them like two juices, right?
Exactly.
So and then one banana that costed you, out of the whole batch of 8, maybe 50 cents, right? And then from there you go on and make $2.50 just on one juice.
Yeah.
And then you make another $2.50 from the second juice that came from one banana. That's
Exactly.
$5 now. So the entire batch of bananas you've made from making one banana into the juice. And it's funny that we're actually talking about this, but it's a simple concept,
Yeah.
so that everyone can understand. If we go into things that are more complex, it's harder to really comprehend how you can turn this into everything else. But if you start thinking in this way with small things in your environment, you'll start noticing it in bigger ideas.
Exactly.
In bigger things, right?
And this is how today's entrepreneurs are, surviving, because they're taking they started with these small steps, right?
Yeah.
And eventually it just became so natural. The implementation became so easy because they already probed their mind, probed their thinking to start small and work their way up.
Which takes time. The mind and molding the mindset takes time. I would say for myself, it took about 8 months to really understand. I would every day write down all my thoughts, ideas, things of, ways of thinking of things, and I still make a lot of mistakes to this day.
It's crazy, man.
But it's something that it takes a long time. It took me 8 months just to get to the point where I'm at now.
Yeah.
And I feel like now there's just so much more growth that needs to happen that the growth just may never stop.
Yeah. To be honest, in my opinion, I think it never stops, right? Because every day is a learning experience. We don't stop learning unless you physically just can't anymore.
Yeah.
Because of, I don't know, maybe dementia or something. But if you don't have those problems, if you're in a position where you can continue to keep learning, keep doing that. Don't allow yourself, to become stagnant in your mindset. Don't allow age. That's what I see a lot of people doing nowadays.
Age
like
is the biggest excuse.
You said, when you get older, you become more fearful.
Yes.
But it's like, why? Because it's a stigma. It's a status quo. Because everybody else feels the same way.
Because you have more to lose.
Exactly.
Right? You may think you have a family. You have a house. There's not many risks you can take.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's true. Essentially, you want to be safe. We're not telling you guys, hey, ditch your family, take all your 401k, and throw it into your dream and hope it happens. No, we're not saying that. We're actually saying the contrary. It's be self-aware, right? And in turn, all these ideas will come to you naturally.
Yes.
The implementation will come naturally. Just by you molding your mind into the way that we believe is the bullish mindset.
Yes. Never give up on learning. Never, ever give up on that. Don't let age define how much you can learn. Don't let fear define how much you can learn. Learning is as simple as just paying attention to the world around you.
Yes.
You do that, and that alone will put you in the right direction towards building a bullish mindset, one that we both harp on as a whole. So I think that does it for the questions for today.
Yeah.
Thank you from the both of us for all your input, all your time and effort to write those questions out and send them to us. We really appreciate them. The engagement from our community is of the utmost importance.
And we encourage it. Please ask us more questions. Even if we're not doing giveaways, ask us any question you want. DM, comment, like, tweet us, whatever you want to do. We're going to have all our links at the bottom of the pages. We want to discuss all these questions and answers with you.
Yeah.
And we want you to be a part of the Bullish Entrepreneur episodes. Every single episode that we release, we want to have questions on there, and we will do the giveaways once a month on one of those episodes.
Yeah.
So be sure to stay tuned in, and don't forget to grab life by the horns and live life bullish.
Take care, guys.
See you guys. Thank you.